I stopped editing and went and got a job, moved out, started living in real life, started going outside. I know it's
You
crazy.
touched grass?
Yeah. Most people, COVID happened and they stayed inside.
Hold on.
Not for me.
let me
Not for
let
me.
me hold on for dear life here. The world's gonna collapse. Breaking news: nerd touches grass. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Clicky Crisp. He is he has made a name for himself over the last 8 years in CSGO, but you actually started way earlier than that, right? You were a RuneScape editor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I've been editing since like 2009, 2008.
Before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to go back in time and really dive deep into you as an editor and as an artist, because I'll tell you what, you definitely made a name for yourself in the CS:GO community, especially the editing community, with your really cool fusions of CS:GO and other game genres, and you know, your editing style really impressed people. It's been kind of cool to see your name pop up from time to time, you know, back when you were active. But I really want to dive deep into you as an editor way back when you first started, you know, probably when you were in diapers still. So let's start with that. So first and foremost, did you go to school for editing or for media or anything like that? Or was this all just you learned, you know, on the fly as a hobby and a passion?
It was everything I've ever learned, YouTube tutorials. A bit of Googling here and there. I never did anything in school.
What inspired you to finally? What was your first one? Vegas Pro, or was it Premiere Pro?
Oh, Windows Movie Maker.
Windows. Okay, good. Okay, so
Yeah,
we come from the same cloth. Then we're from the same fabric. We're from the same era. Okay, Windows Movie Maker. What did you see that inspired you to pick up Windows Movie Maker and start editing? What was that video? Because we all have one, right?
Yeah, mine, I know like the back of my hand. An editor called Raven HPLTC 242 in like 2007 edited.
You know all of the numbers too. That's impressive. Okay.
They were an Avatar: The Last Airbender editor, and the video I saw was like Avatar and 7 Simple Rules. Great video, greatly edited. It uses like soundtrack from Muse.
That's I mean, if that's not hard. Symbolic of the era too. I mean, it was just it was punk, it was rock, and you know, and maybe rap if you were into it. But yeah, the Muse definitely. Millen was another big one back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so Muse.
Like edgy, punky stuff was all she ever edited with, and I think I was just getting into YouTube and searching up things I liked, and then putting like a montage at the end of it. So Avatar montage, or RuneScape montage, Halo montage, and then I just sort of got into it and found things I liked, and was like, that looks fun. That looks like something I would enjoy.
Love it. Okay, so how did you transition naturally and fluidly to Counter-Strike, or was there a path that you took to get to Counter-Strike?
A bit of a path.
Okay, let's hear it.
I alternated between RuneScape and Halo for years. I was just picking up any like hobby video wise on YouTube, and just I would try Let's Plays, I would try like tutorials and time lapses and building montages and editing RuneScape here and there, and just doing all sorts. And for years I did Let's Plays from Minecraft, and I think I just played like CS Source on the side. I didn't really film it or anything, but a couple of my friends were just like kind of like into it, and they would drag me into some of their games. And I was doing my Let's Plays and stuff, and then CSGO came out, and they were like, "Hey, you should get CSGO. Like we're moving from Source to CSGO. It just came out. Let's give it a go." And I just fell in love with it, and did my usual montage searches of it, and just somewhere down the line, just all the Let's Plays and things died down, and became like just a full-time like editor, solely, nothing else.
Yeah, so that's a great. I'm glad you brought that up, because some of your original CS:GO videos were more trolly, memey type videos, right? I mean, they were more fun. You know, something you'd see out of Super Stitchum, I think his name is.
Super Stidham, yeah. I think he's British as well. So
okay, well, there you go. All you Brits have just the crazy sense of humor, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
So that was like more of your style, and then you started to slowly. no pun intended, but one of your bigger movies that broke you out was that slow-mo video that you made. But you started to fuse the retro games with Counter-Strike Go. What really inspired you to start doing that? And was Level Up, Press Start, and Arcade, do you consider that like a trilogy of sorts, since they all have the same style?
I love that question. That's amazing. A lot of my videos are trilogies in a sense. So
okay then.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
Level Up,
cheers.
Press Start, and Arcade. Yeah, at the very end of Arcade, there is like a sort of callback. I think it's like oh, game over or something at the like last frame.
Right.
And then there was Insane, Pain, and I think Lone Wolf I consider to be like free sort of like emo-y edits. I put in it
for sure. I definitely saw the vibe change.
Yeah, I would sort of just have an interest, a hobby, or like a thing I learned about editing.
Okay.
Kind of run with it for a couple of videos and then move on and maybe come back to some ideas here and there.
So, I mean, what was it that like were you playing like Galaga and you're just like, man, that'd be cool if I kind of put this into Counter-Strike? Like, what was it that sort of made you want to fuse those two things together, like those arcade style games and then CS?
Yeah, the original inspiration, I think, it was just music. The artist known as MDK, he uses a lot of samples from all sorts of games, old games, and just sounds that just very like 8-bit and makes me want to kind of go back and play old games and feel a bit of nostalgia.
It's the most powerful drug in the world, nostalgia. If you can bottle that up, you can control human.
Literally, if you could sell it, it would fly off the shelves.
Oh my god, yeah, you'd be rich.
Yeah, that was kind of like what I was going for. Was why I love this like music that makes me feel nostalgic. Let's just like get CS and grab a bunch of like childhood games, maybe things that people might remember back in the day, anything that I liked, anything that friends liked, and just overlay it on top, mix and match things, just have fun with it, really, and just let the music drive it.
The joy oozes out of your videos. You can really see yourself having fun, throughout them as you watch them. So it's infectious. You can really see that you're having a good time, behind the editing tools and behind the screen.
It was great.
That's really cool. So moving on to nostalgia and with the recent release of the definitive edition trilogy. So retro edition and what was it? It was Grand Theft Offensive. I mean, did you just get done playing GTA at the time of making those? Because those were heavily inspired, obviously, by Grand Theft Auto. So I was just wondering if I like to actually watch the timeline of your videos, and you can actually like trace like what game you're playing at the time to the Counter-Strike game movie that you're making.
Dude, you have an eye for these things. You're talented, dude. That's crazy. It's a bit of what I'm playing at the time, and a bit of like my own nostalgia. I grew up on Vice City and San Andreas.
Oh yeah, of course.
So GTA games just kind of flow naturally with me. I just love them. So
I think I've got the original GTA on PlayStation behind me.
Oh,
It's got it somewhere. Ah, here it is. No, wait. No, it's GTA 2. I thought I had GTA 1.
That's nice.
This one, it took place in London, right? If I'm not mistaken. So this one...
No idea. I played the first one for maybe 10 minutes. So.
This one took place in London, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
So this one should be... should have a special place in your heart.
Like, as much as people complain about Rockstar, I think they have great UI design. A lot of my stuff is all about like just design and UI and having like objects and images.
You like playing with the HUD a lot.
Love it. Yeah. That was like definitely a route as well that I went down. It wasn't all about the music in the game. Sometimes it was just, I like the way that looks. So Rockstar, very clean HUD to work with.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, just love those games, playing them. And after I'm done with a gaming session of them, I'd go edit, some CS and slap some overlays on top. It was all about the fun. Whatever I was enjoying, I would just let it go loose.
I think that's so freaking cool about you too, is like you just have this childlike wonder of editing and the process behind it. Like I despise myself when I edit, and you're just you're just like a kid in a ball pit at Chuck E. Cheese. Like
we've all been there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, I suppose you understand where I'm coming from, but I just wish that, like, I feel like a lot of people could probably learn something from you by listening to the way that you talk about editing and the process behind it, because I feel like too many people maybe take themselves seriously, me included, with regards to editing Counter-Strike and frag movies in general. So it's really refreshing to kind of hear somebody like you talk about, our most passionate hobby. Moving on to, your game fusion, it almost feels like, oh God, what was it? If CSGO was an RPG, it almost feels like that was a natural progression of like what you were doing with your movies, because you did the sandboxy shooter, and you did the retro game feel, and the big genre that you haven't hit yet was the RPG genre, and then you go and you make that, and it just feels like that was like sort of your natural. Were you playing Final Fantasy when you made that?
No.
Okay, all right. Were you playing Zelda?
No. That one was purely, I think, fueled by going back to my roots with RuneScape and having some kind of MMO route.
Of course.
But the rest was fueled by just music. RPG, I think, from start to finish was an 8-month project. I did the first half of it in like a couple of weeks, maybe days.
Okay.
And then you have that, that burnout, that blockage where you're just like, I'm stumped. I have no idea where this video is going. Don't know what I'm doing with it. And you just kind of shelf it for a while.
It's my current movie right now that I'm making. I'm making a tribute movie to Astralis, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I haven't touched it like 6 months.
And that's perfectly fine. Sometimes you have to. I had some advice from a player named Waff. He was like, sometimes you just need to take a step back and come back to it.
I think a really good question to ask you at this point is do you sit down and do you storyboard? Because, and this is going to actually segue into my next conversation with you about machinimas. So do you sit down and do you storyboard and write out like the script of your movie, since they are in essence they're a narrative that you tell? Do you do that, or is it more of like you're sitting there and it's like whatever kind of flows out of you, that's what you put on screen?
It's a little mix of both. I'll kind of just work with the music first. Music comes first for me every time.
Love it. Audio is more important than video, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
the reason I fell in love with videos in the first place was because of music videos and montages.
Yep.
They're so musically driven. It made me fall in love with the relationship between video and music.
It's the only correct answer I'll accept.
Yeah, it's like it's literally one is not complete without the other. It's not even half as good without the other. If you muted a video, it's like, well, what's the fucking point? Like,
but the thing is, I do weird things. Like, I'll rip the audio from stuff, and I'll listen to it in my car on the way to like work or something. So I can listen to a frag movie without the video, but if I have a frag movie without audio, it's nothing to me.
Yeah, which goes to tell you, like, music is more important, at least in some contexts.
And I always drive home the fact that like mixing your sound and your audio to so they marry correctly and not overpower one another is so important.
Yeah.
At least to me, because I think it, like I said, like you said, it's more important than video sometimes. So I'm a huge sound engineer guy. I it has to the sound mixing and the sound audio has to be just perfect. Or it's a ruined experience.
Yeah, you used a good word as well, marry. I like that word.
So, all right. So wow. So you ad lib it for the most part.
Pretty much,
it's sort of like a feel thing.
There's been a couple of videos where I would hear a song and you just kind of like have a vision in your mind and you're like, oh, this part of the song looks really cool. And then when the music drops, like that's where the best frag should be. So you can kind of structure it a little bit. But yeah, the music comes first. Nightmares, my video Nightmares.
It's gonna be
I heard that song.
My next question.
Perfect. Yeah, that one was slightly storyboarded.
You're driving. Yeah, that was my next question. Yeah. You're driving this interview for me. Okay, before you say it, so you don't look like the genius, and so I look like the genius. Okay, so Nightmares and From Silver to Global had very heavy storytelling elements to them. I mean, I almost want to call them machinimas, to be honest, because they feel like a cohesive story from start to finish. and it feels like you're trying to build and character development throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Did you draw inspirations from machinimas? And when did that desire to tell stories in your videos start to come about? Because it started to leak it, because at the beginning there weren't too many narratives, there wasn't a story arc throughout your videos, but it started to leak in very slowly into your videos in the later days. And I just wanted to know, like, where did that inspiration come from? Like, where did you start wanting to develop a story throughout your videos? And have you ever considered making a full-length machinima?
Oh man, what a beautiful question.
Oh,
As far as a full length one, I don't think that's really. It might cross my mind, but I don't think I'd be into it. I never sat there and thought, what would be good? Oh, a movie or like some kind of character development going on here. It just kind of came as it came. Like I didn't really plan it when it came around to Nightmares and Silver to Global. It was always a means to one up myself from the previous one. And coming from RPG, it was like, well, that kind of had a little bit of story. It opened up with, hey man, get some frags. Simple, but like there was now a character involved.
Right.
And yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room at this point. It's been 2 goddamn years, sir.
Yes,
Mr. Crisp. It's been 2 years. Yes. You slaved away releasing these banger videos for like 8 years straight, and then you just disappear since 2020. What? I mean, do you mind? Where did you go?
I can give some explanation, but
okay. I mean, you don't have to get personal with us, but
no. It's not. I'm an open book, and it's not even like that. I
love it.
Part of it is I don't know. I just didn't feel like it. Editing became less of an interest, but I still edit. Just
I get it.
CSGO, yeah, we've all been there. But I kind of did the opposite of what people did when COVID first hit. A lot of people, lost their jobs or had bad situations come up,
right?
And would start working from home and maybe work on their passions. I had the opposite. I stopped editing and went and got a job, moved out, started living in real life, started going outside. I know it's crazy.
You touched grass?
Yeah. Most people, COVID happened and they stayed inside.
Hold on.
Not for me.
Let me hold on for dear life here. The world's going to collapse. Breaking news. Nerd touches grass.
It's insane. I'm sorry. I betrayed the entire community. I didn't mean to. I was streaming and editing every day back then.
Okay.
But I needed a new place to live because I moved away from the city up north, and I was living with my parents for just a month in between places. And it was driving me insane. So I knew that I had to go, move somewhere else. And as I did, it all happened at the same time, and everything kind of just clicked into place how it did. And it wasn't ever something I consciously thought of. It wasn't like I quit for 2 years. No, it just didn't really come up to my priority list.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you just hobbies wax and wane. There's really no rhyme or reason why they do. They just do. I was obsessed with golf for fucking like 5 years, and then for 5 years after that, I was just like, I have no interest in picking up a golf club. And then for some reason, I was just like, I need to get good at golf again. Like, it is my sole purpose in life. It's weird like that, right?
They come in rotations. Yeah,
that's cool. And I appreciate the fact that you didn't force it. That you were okay with that. That you didn't feel like you had to deliver. That you didn't feel like there was pressure on you to release something. That being said, I think everybody would like to know: are you planning on working on a new project anytime soon, or is there a new project secretly in the works right now? Can you give us a little hint? Do you know?
Easy answer. Such an easy answer. Okay. The answer is yes.
Woo!
I have done the normal, started and stopped a few projects, but they've all kind of been so similar. So I've got a bank of scrapped things, but they've all gone the same route. So I know that there's an idea somewhere in there. Okay. I know for a fact that something's going to come out. I know I do want to have a comeback and start editing CS again, or anything really. It doesn't even have to be CS. And a key point I forgot to mention earlier is I always prioritize my mental health and happiness first. It always comes first.
God, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, it's like
I love that you do that. It's a huge theme on this show. Good for you.
It's one of the most important, if not the most important thing, especially for editors. You're so critical of yourself. It's so easy to tear down and get egoed by your own ego, and it's horrible. It's a horrible cycle. So me not editing and pushing it or pressuring it on myself was the best thing I could have done for myself.
Lovely.
So flashing forward to now, it's like I edit when I want and I work on what I want. It's definitely the best thing I could have done. So I know something will come out. I don't know when. I don't know what it is, but I've got a sense of something. So like, yeah, the answer is yes, but with an asterisk, you know.
Something is in the works, and we're going to get a new Clicky Crisp video in the future. It might be 2025 when it happens, but it's going to happen.
One day.
So a birdie told me you're actually streaming again. That's a new a new thing that you're picking up again.
Yeah.
You took a break from that as well. Where can they find you at?
Clicky Crisp on Twitch. Okay. Same as everything else.
Question for you. Where do you what do you see happening in the next 5 years? Do you have like a goal? Do you have like a something that you want to achieve in either your streaming life or your editing life? What's in the future for you?
Oh, this might be my favorite question.
All right, I'm on a roll here.
You're great.
I'll just keep asking questions all night.
So the thing is, with YouTube at least, when I first started out, the goal was to learn the hobby, maybe get good at it, have fun with it, and I feel like I did that. Now I'm like, I feel like I've done all the things I've wanted, at least with content creating. Streaming, I'm sure I could make an endless list and just go on forever. But in general, I'm content where I am creatively, and now it's just kind of living life and maybe seeing where it takes me. I don't think too far into the future because I don't really need to. As long as I'm happy in the moment, then that's the life I want. I don't need to plan too much. In the grand scheme of things, as long as I'm happy, yeah, nothing else matters.
You're gonna work on the now, and then whatever the future brings, you'll be ready for it. I love it. It's such a simple yet powerful message, and that's really cool. I really like that you answered it like that. This has probably been my favorite interview yet. This has been an awesome conversation. I won a part 2 already. I'm telling you right now, we're having this man on the channel again in the near future because I want to keep talking to him. He's a brilliant mind and just an absolute expert at conversing and talking about the craft that we so dearly love. I hope to God he makes some time for us again because I'm going to make it happen, and I hope
absolutely.
He does too. Awesome.
I'm an open book. Anytime you want, just give me a ring. I'm always
and you know
around.
what? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe we should do maybe we should have a partnership. Maybe we should do a video together sometime.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? What do you
I'm
think?
down.
Style Productions, Clicky Crisp.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think?
I'm available. Let me check my schedule.
All right.
Yep.
We're good.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
You
heard it here first. Style Productions and Clicky Crisp might be getting together in the future to make a video. We'll see what happens, folks. But until the next time, I hope you enjoyed this interview, and we'll see you then.